Hey family, I am back. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you. Thank you so much for your support, the love, the prayers. Um, Thank you for the kind words. I mean, I'm humbled and you'd be surprised at like how far a prayer or a spiritual boost will take you. But before I get into my update with everything, I wanted to first say um, there was somebody that left a comment on the previous video, my first video, and they said basically you have prayer warriors out here, and then they wrote 2632. And I was like, 2632? And I'm like, oh, that's the timestamp of my video. So my previous video was 26 minutes and 32 seconds. And they said that right after saying that, I have prayer warriors out here praying for me. So I'm like, what does 2632 mean? So immediately I started Googling, and I found a lot of scriptures that have a 26 chapter and a 32nd verse. But the one that popped up the most was a scripture with it was Matthew 26:32. And the scripture says, when I arise, I will go before you to Galilee. And this is basically the portion in the Bible where I guess it's around the Last Supper. And Jesus or Yeshua is saying, hey, I'm going to go ahead of you into Galilee, into Jerusalem. And I'm like, why did they highlight this scripture, or how does this scripture relate to me? And it's so funny because I was in the movies with my kids. I took them to see Inside Out 2, and we're sitting in the theater. The movie's about to end, and I just happened to get a notification for that comment. So I'm reading a comment, and while I'm reading a comment in the theater, I had already decided that I was going to start my detox, my cleanse the next day. So the day that I'm reading this comment, I had already said, this is my last day to just kind of eat what I'm eating, not eat trash, but just eat whatever. And then I'm going to go into my cleanse, right? And I'll talk more about my cleanse in a second. So um, it's so funny because the significance of it being around the time of the Last Supper. And then the words, I will go ahead of you, is what rung loudly. And the more I processed it, I'm like, God is walking ahead of me. My path is being cleared. My steps are being guided. I am being led. And that's really how I felt. And it gave me chills in the moment because I knew it was a message. Because even the fact that the person who left the comment didn't write Matthew or didn't write, Acts, or they didn't say a specific book. So that's what called out to me. And it was even more significant that it was the Last Supper, and that was my day of like having my last, meal of just eating what I want, and then me and my kids walk out of the theater, and it was drizzling, but the rain had just stopped, and there were two rainbows, two beautiful, bright, close rainbows. Like I felt like we could drive to them. I felt like we could touch them. And it's so significant, and I'm super spiritual. So I see the signs and the confirmations, and rainbows have always been a sign of God's promise. And, there's a couple of things that God tells us to do aside from like honoring our body, honoring our temple, but having faith and trusting and allowing our steps to be led, and praying, praying in combination with, putting in the work, of course, and praying without ceasing. So for me, it was more so of a sign of being disciplined, and how much being a disciple and being disciplined go hand in hand, right? So to follow whatever religious or spiritual background anyone may have, like, to follow what you believe in, you have to be disciplined. And discipline is not something that's easy, but it's something that I feel like it grows and we get better at it the more that we practice it. And it's something that benefits us. And so often we get caught up in like instant gratification, right? We want what we want when we want it. And it just, to me, it was just a sign that God is there and around and omnipresent, and I don't have to worry. And it just comforted me so much. Like, so whoever you are left that comment, thank you. Thank you so much, because um, obviously God used you to speak those words, or for me to find that scripture that I just need to know that my path is being led. You know, God is leading the way, walking before me. So thank you. Um, but so I'm going to jump into the update. So after I posted the last video back up, I recorded the last video, and then I don't know if you watched it already. You remember me saying that I was feeling kind of weak and my energy was low. I felt like I may need another transfusion. Well, the next day I end up going to the ER, and they definitely did another transfusion. So I've now had 3, and my energy has been low. And once I got back home, I had some food and things purchased for me and cooked for me, which I'm so grateful for. But it's only a few days ago that I started back with my cleanse. So um, obviously, I know the doctors are still trying to figure it out. I have another scan so that they can see if it's something that they missed coming up in I think a week and a half now. Um, but in the meanwhile, I have to do my part on my end. So my cleanse that I did before that helped was primarily just alkaline foods. So if it was cooked, it was still just veggies, lots of raw foods, lots of salads, lots of fruits, smoothies, fresh juice. Um, but now I'm gonna turn it up a little bit just to help the process and help my body as much as possible while I wait for an update from the doctors, right? Because I don't like to say the words out loud, but worst case scenario, um, I still know that the body requires a certain level of detox in order to really cleanse at a cellular level. So um, I've decided to cut out potatoes, rice, bread, pasta, starchy foods, no corn, no, what else? Obviously, no sugar, no alcohol, no processed foods, none of those snacks that could just sit in packages forever. Nothing like that. So all of those things are cut out, and I'll do one day eating some cooked veggies, maybe salads, fruits, or whatever, and then I'll do 3 days raw. So it'll be one day alkaline foods of whatever my choice is, and then 3 days raw. And I will do that for a little while to just kind of help speed up the process of flushing my body. Um, I would have started sooner, but like I said, right after the last transfusion, I was trying to rest a little bit. I was in the bed. And honestly, I was going to record this video yesterday, but yesterday was not a good day for me. Um, and it's also not that easy to set the phone up and record when you're having a moment or when you're in pain. Um, I'm still taking the hormones that the doctors have given me, and they got me on 2 of the pills a day. They said I can reduce it to 1 when the bleeding has lightened up a little bit, but I'm bleeding through the hormones right now. So it's like, I don't know if this is like my period pushing through the hemorrhaging or through the hormones, or if this is just my body is like freaking out more, and and it's just out of whack. I really honestly don't have an answer, but I will say this. Um I'm positive. I'm positive. I'm in a great headspace today. Like I said yesterday, I felt a little out of it, a little weak, um, a lot of heavy bleeding and a lot of pain. Um, I'm going through pads today as well. However, my head is high and I'm here. I'm recording this video. I'm in great spirits today, and I have life. I have my life, and my children are having a great day, and I have no complaints. And I have my flower arrangement here. I have many things to be grateful for. Like, I look around me, look at all the toys all over the place, and just a few months ago, my kids didn't even have any toys. So I have a lot to be grateful for. And I'm just focusing my energy on releasing pain and releasing trauma, releasing the things that don't serve me, the things that cause me stress. I notice when I get upset, if I get angry, if I get triggered, I notice that I pour out more blood, or I pass really large blood clots. So I'm controlling my energy and my anger. We're human, we have moments, but it's about limiting those moments or having like practices to help through those moments. So on the days that I'm like, today is my first day raw, all raw today. Yesterday I ate cooked foods, and today I'm just raw. So I've had some fruits, I've had some fresh juice, I've had some tamarins. I might have a salad later. I don't know it depends on how I feel. But I, and I also had some tea. I had some herbs that help with hemorrhaging, and some herbs that fight cancer. Just giving myself all the options, and I realized that I did post a video online and said that, I'm releasing this trauma and this pain, because I realized that, like, when we're stressed out and when we're angry and when we're going through these breakups and toxic situations, we hold so much pain in our stomachs, and in other parts of our bodies too, in our heart. We hold this pain and this trauma in our body. And as women, I know, with our womb being our energy center, we hold a lot of pain and trauma in our womb. And I am somebody who has unfortunately been abused multiple times as a young girl. The first time I was abused, I was 4 years old. And that's trauma that has been inflicted onto my body, onto my womb. And I have been in relationships. And again, like I said, I'm spiritual. So I am at the age or I'm at the place emotionally and spiritually where I recognize that even if I'm true to someone, even if I am being honest with someone, if you're dealing with someone and their energy is not pure towards you, or their intentions aren't pure towards you, or they're laying with multiple people or other people, and then coming back to you with this energy, and then some women find out that they've dealt with men who low key hate them, or what's the word, are jealous of them or resent them for whatever reason. All of that energy is transferred onto you. And that's why they call it sexual energy exchange, because you are exchanging energy. You're exchanging spirits and energy and everything. So it's important for me to acknowledge that I've inflicted some pain on myself through bad habits, through bad food, products we use. When I was young, I used to use all those scented products on my body and had no idea how toxic they were. And I've eaten foods and alcohol. Man, let me tell you, I like a glass of wine, or I like a nice cocktail when I go out, but I recognize that those things directly feed the growth of polyps, fibroids, cysts, cancer, and so on. And it's like, it just does so much damage, and it's just not worth it. And then we have other things, spandex clothes, or aluminum foil when we're wrapping our food or steaming our food, like just all these things that build up in our lymphatic system, and they have these things called forever chemicals, and the forever chemicals, they build and they eventually get to the point where it overwhelms your body, right? Or even certain deodorants with aluminum in it, or toothpaste with fluoride in it. You know, our body is interconnected, so everything affects everything. So anything that I have done, anything I've partaken in that caused any damage, or anybody I've dealt with that has caused any damage, or any abuse that has been inflicted upon me, has all impacted my womb. And I also have to acknowledge spiritually and generationally, we hold trauma in our genes for generations. And any pain and trauma that's been inflicted on the women that came before me would also be a part of me as well. And any sensitivities that any women had, any sensitive uterine problems or anything like that, I'm going to be more sensitive to that as well, which means my daughter is going to be more sensitive to those things. I'm going to have to be very intentional about not just what she eats, but keeping her spiritually grounded, and pouring into her and teaching her the habits of how to properly pour into herself. So I'm saying all that to say that I'm releasing it all. Like, I am just letting go and releasing. I'm releasing trauma. I'm releasing pain and anger, and I'm going to do that in different ways. Like, I have a few different ways that I plan to release outside of just saying it, and I probably will share that. I am writing down what I'm eating. I'm tracking what I'm eating, everything I'm putting into my body, how my body feels, just so that I can compare the things that seem like they're helping versus the things that are not. um, and I'm also controlling my space, right? So I'm keeping positive energy around me. I'm keeping love around me. And I'm affirming myself all day, every day. When I tell you I'm affirming myself, I mean, like, I am taking my deep breaths. I'm breathing intentionally. We hold our breath. And like, even if you're watching now, like, pay attention. Notice if like your face is tense. If you're squeezing or clenching your teeth, or if your shoulders up high, release your shoulders. If you're holding tension in your neck, or if you're squeezing your stomach, release your stomach. If you're holding tension in your legs, in your feet, anywhere that you're squeezing, like, just pay attention and notice that. And if you did notice that you had any tension anywhere in your body, that's pain, that's trauma, that's subconscious stress and anxiety. That's just things that we're holding on to. Like, we don't realize that we walk around tense like this constantly, you know? So I'm looking at this moment as a twofold situation. On one hand, of course, there is a health issue there, and I don't know what it is, but it's forcing me to heal, and it's forcing me to be intentional and present. And then on the other hand, I'm looking at it spiritually, because I'm just bleeding nonstop. And they say that when we bleed and when we have our periods, we're shedding the lining, and our body is cleansing itself. I'm looking at it like a long shedding and a long cleansing, like I am cleansing all of those things I just said, all of that trauma and all of that build up. My body is tired. My body is sick of it, and I'm just letting it go. And I'm either going to help my body through the process or hurt my body. And obviously, you already know I'm a fighter, and I'm here to guide myself and my body, and allow myself to be led, allow myself to be guided. Um, And this isn't an easy thing to go through. I'm not going to sit here and act like I don't have moments and days, but I'm also a single mom, and doing doing these things, staying positive and staying in the right mindset when you are raising children on your own is not easy. Um, I noticed that, especially yesterday, right? I was in a lot more pain, There was a lot more bleeding, which was frustrating for me because I took the medicine and I'm like, I'm not supposed to be bleeding this heavy. And um, but you know what it made me think in that moment? It makes me irritated. Like I notice that I'm irritated easily. So the kids can do something. So kids work your nerve on a good day, but it sometimes when I'm in pain or when I got a little anxiety or stress, I will take my anger out on them unnecessarily. And I normally notice it, if not in the moment, shortly after I notice it, because I'm like, you tripping. They just playing with their toys. Like that you are tripping. And where I'm just like, guys, be quiet. Guys, sit down. I just want them to constantly sit down. I just want quiet. And I think it's because like it's just been so much that we've gone through this year, and my body just feels so many different ways. I just want to sit in peace and quiet. And but I realize that I don't live in a perfect world, and that's not my reality. So that is something that I'm also working to find balance with, is just balancing out juggling this health issue, soon to be health triumph, okay? And being a single mom, because you have to show up as a parent even on those hard days. So I'm doing that, and I pray that my kids one day will understand and have a little more peace, knowing that it's not always them, it is me. And I do tell them that, and I do apologize. Um, I do try to right my wrongs, especially when I recognize it. I'm like, guys, like, my bad. I'm me tripping. But so yes, family, again, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for checking up with me and my family, and thank you for the prayers and the love. I just keep telling everybody it's working. Today I'm in a great mood. I'm in better spirits. My energy is lifted. Um, and I know over the next few days of this raw fast, I am going to have some moments, some hunger pains and things like that. But when Yeshua was in the woods and fasted for 40 days and 40 nights, my aunt actually, she was the one who reminded me of this story. She was like, remember, Yeshua was tempted with bread and the world and everything else, and denied it, rejected it. uh, and it's like that's the discipline side of being a disciple, because you don't need to give in to your flesh and to your cravings and to these things that do not serve our body and do not serve whatever you're doing spiritually. Even if you're fasting for spiritual reasons, it might not be for a health reason, but health is an added benefit to fasting. And so I'm just so grateful to God, because although I know I will have those moments where because I still have to cook for the kids. So man, when I'm cooking, I smell that food, I'd be like, I just want some warm food. But at the end of the day, it's my spirit that has to lead me through this. It's my spirit that's going to get me to the place where I want to be and the place I need to be. And my spirit has to be stronger than ever. So that's why I say that the prayers are working, guys. The affirmations are working. If you have any scriptures or prayers, like that's one thing I love that's been happening, is that people have been sending me random scriptures and affirmations, and thank you. Like, thank you, because they're beautiful and they resonate and they're getting me through. So um, I will be back with another update. And in the meanwhile, family, if you enjoyed the video, like, share, subscribe if you want to, comment, um, leave a positive word, and I look forward to seeing you all next time. Thank you.